Welcome to the Surgical Edge podcast for surgical insights, reviews, discussions, and to stay updated. Let's dive in.
Okay, let's jump right in. Today, we're navigating one of the most, intensely competitive journeys in medicine. We're talking about the strategic path from being a core trainee, maybe an SHO, or even a foundation year doctor, all the way to securing that coveted specialty registrar, or ST3, post in general surgery here in the UK. We know a lot of you listening are probably right in the thick of this, or you know someone who is. It's definitely a marathon, isn't it? It requires not just clinical skill, but a really structured, strategic approach.
Absolutely, it's a long game.
So our mission today is clear. We're taking a deep dive into a really helpful resource, the Road to ST3, General Surgery Progression Strategy. We want to pull out the most crucial, actionable insights to, guide your success. We're breaking down what it actually takes.
And what's truly fascinating about this journey, I think, is that it's about far more than just being a clinically competent doctor. I mean, that's vital, obviously. But it's also about understanding and actively engaging in strategic career development. It's a system you need to navigate. We're going to explore the 3 key phases that our source outlines, starting with laying the absolute bedrock, then building a genuinely competitive advantage, and finally, nailing that all-important application and interview process.
Right. Sounds like a plan.
Now, before we get into the details, a quick but really critical note for all you aspiring surgeons listening. So if you're at the foundation year, SHO, or CT level, listen up. While we're distilling the best strategies from our source today, remember that medical policies, application requirements, guidelines, especially in a dynamic system like the NHS, they are constantly evolving. Things change. So it is absolutely essential that you do your own diligent research, check the latest official policies, the updates from the Royal Colleges, from HEE, all the relevant bodies. Always cross-reference with the most current guidance available. Your own research is paramount here.
That's a really important point. Things move fast. Okay, so what strikes me about this strategy is how clearly it emphasizes that success isn't just about, say, surgical skill alone. It's built on 3 pillars, really: clinical excellence, academic achievement, and demonstrating commitment. It's holistic. So let's begin with phase 1. The source calls it laying the foundation. This covers your CT12 or SHO years. What are the absolute non-negotiables here, the bedrock skills you just have to establish?
Yeah, the bedrock phase. During this time, your primary role, number 1, is to be an unequivocally safe, competent, and reliable doctor. Full stop. This goes beyond just, showing up. It's about truly mastering core surgical procedures. We're talking about things like confident patient consenting, really understanding it, venipuncture cannulation, catheterization, meticulous wound management. The basics done well. And maybe a bit surprisingly for some early on, the ability to handle a laparoscopic camera well is highlighted. It's seen as a basic expected skill now, even at this stage.
Why is that, do you think, the camera handling specifically?
Well, because these practical skills are the foundation, right? Everything else in surgical training builds on them. Demonstrating them early just signals your readiness, your basic aptitude for minimally invasive techniques, which are so common now.
Okay, that makes sense. Beyond those hands-on skills, the source talks a lot about ward management and demonstrating ownership, excelling at patient clerking, perioperative care, managing surgical emergencies, leading the ward round effectively. How does the source suggest you truly stand out here, beyond just ticking the boxes?
It's about being proactive, not just reactive, taking genuine ownership of your patient's care. The advice is, don't just present a problem to your senior. Anyone can spot a problem. Present the problem and a well-thought-out solution, or at least a plan. The example they give is really good, actually. Imagine saying something like, okay, this patient has a low urine output. I've checked his obs, confirmed he's not septic. I've reviewed his fluid chart, and I'm suggesting we give a fluid challenge. I'll reassess him in an hour.
Right. Showing you're working.
Exactly. That's gold standard stuff. It shows critical thinking, initiative, and the ability to act on your clinical judgment. That's precisely what seniors are looking for. It builds trust.
Okay, so clinical skills, ownership. With those starting to solidify, the next big hurdle is often the MRCS exams, membership of the Royal College of Surgeons. That causes a lot of anxiety, I know. What's the strategic approach recommended for tackling this?
The MRCS is the absolute minimum entry requirement for ST3. Let's be clear on that. Our source is very firm.
Yeah.
Don't just see it as a hoop to jump through. It's a fundamental marker of your knowledge base. It shows you're serious. And the timeline is critical, really critical. You should aim to pass Part A, the written paper, during your CT1 year, and then get both Part A and Part B, the OSCE, done by the end of your CT2 year.
So no delays if possible.
Ideally not. Delaying these exams severely weakens your application. It can suggest, maybe unfairly, but it can suggest a lack of planning or foresight. Preparation needs to be like a military campaign almost. Extensive use of question banks, targeted courses, dedicated study groups, whatever works for you, but take it seriously.
Right. Treat it like a major project.
Yeah.
Moving on from exams, the source describes your portfolio as career currency. I like that phrase. How does it suggest you make that currency, rich and varied, especially using the ISCP, the Intercollegiate Surgical Curriculum Program?
Yeah, career currency sums it up well. Building your portfolio systematically is vital. And the ISCP platform is basically your Bible for this whole process. You live in it. Log everything meticulously. Every procedure using DOPS forms those direct observations of procedural skills. Every clinical assessment via CBA's consultant-based assessments, every audit project, every teaching session you deliver, or even attend with reflection. But here's the really crucial insight, and one that's often missed, I think. Quality and genuine reflection are way more important than just sheer volume. Well, a single, well-written reflective entry on, say, a difficult complication you managed, where you genuinely learned something and maybe changed your practice slightly, that's deemed significantly more valuable than just logging, 100 routine procedures without any real thought behind it. It's about demonstrating growth, learning, insight.
That quality over quantity distinction is really important. It's not just about ticking boxes. What about other key portfolio elements like audit, teaching, and management experience? What kind of experiences are they really looking for there?
Okay, so for audit and quality improvement, or QI, you absolutely must have completed at least one full audit cycle. That means identifying a problem, collecting data, implementing changes based on findings, and this is the key bit, re-auditing to show you've actually made an improvement. Ideally, you should be leading that project yourself or playing a very significant role. A completed QI project showing measurable improvement is, it's gold standard. It shows you're not just identifying issues, you're actively solving them within the system.
And for teaching?
For teaching, get formal experience. Don't just rely on informal chats. This could involve teaching medical students, nurses, your junior colleagues. Structure it if you can. The source even suggests considering a training the trainers workshop. Give you a certificate, sure, but it also genuinely improves your teaching skills, makes it more effective.
Okay. And management. That sounds a bit daunting for a junior doctor.
It doesn't have to be running the hospital. The advice is to actively seek out roles beyond purely clinical duties. Small things add up. Think about being the rota coordinator, maybe the teaching lead for your year group, or getting involved in hospital committees like the doctor's mess committee even. These roles demonstrate leadership potential, organizational skills, and a broader understanding of how the NHS actually works. That's crucial for a registrar. It shows you can see the bigger picture beyond just the patient in front of you.
Right. It's about showing that broader capability. Okay, let's shift gears. We've laid the foundation. Now, phase 2, building competitive advantage. With those strong foundations in place, how do you really start to stand out from what's obviously a very talented, very competitive group of applicants? It sounds like research and academic output become pretty key here.
They really do become vital differentiators, yes. Publications are crucial. Our source suggests starting small if you're new to research, maybe a compelling case report or a letter to the editor on a topic you know well. Even just helping with data collection on a bigger project can get your name on a paper early on, get you familiar with the process. But the ultimate goal, realistically for SD3, should be aiming for a first author publication in a peer-reviewed journal. That carries significant weight.
And that often requires dedicated time, right?
It often does. Achieving that first author publication might require a dedicated out-of-program experience, or OOP, specifically for research. And this is typically something you'd consider after your CT2 year. Also, pursuing a master's, like an MSc or an MREs, or even going for a PhD can provide a huge advantage, especially if you're aiming for those super competitive surgical subspecialties later on. It shows a real depth of academic engagement.
And it's not just about publishing, but presenting too.
Absolutely. Don't underestimate the power of presenting your work. Posters, or even better, oral presentations at national and international conferences. Think ACIT, Association of Surgeons in Training, APA-GI, Upper GI Surgeons, ACP-GBI, colorectal. These not only build your academic profile, they give you visibility, and they offer invaluable networking opportunities with senior figures in your potential field. You get to meet people.
Okay, so academics are key. But beyond that, what about targeted clinical experience? How does the source suggest you proactively develop a subspecialty interest and then actually, get experience in it?
Good question. To get that targeted theater experience, the advice is to consciously develop an interest in a specific area early on. Could be upper GI, colorectal, breast, vascular, whatever clicks with you. Then strategically use your study leave. Don't just go on generic courses. Attend specialist clinics and theaters within that chosen field. And this isn't just about passive observation, it's about actively making connections. Crucially, try to build a strong relationship with a consultant in that specific area. Find someone supportive. This person can become a mentor, guide you, maybe offer small projects, and later on provide a really valuable, informed reference that speaks specifically to your interest and aptitude in that field.
Right, finding that champion. The force also mentioned something that might sound a bit counterintuitive initially, a non-training registrarship or a fellowship. What exactly is that, and why would taking what sounds like an SHO-level post be valuable for someone aiming for ST3?
That's a great point, and it's where strategy really comes into play. These posts aren't a step backward at all. They're typically junior surgical posts, maybe badged as SHO level or clinical fellow, but they're often taken by doctors who've already finished core training. Think of it as a strategic pause or pivot. These posts are often in highly specialist units, maybe transplant, HBB surgery, complex vascular places you might not get much exposure to in core training. So they provide invaluable, focused, subspecialty experience. That's a big plus. But just as importantly, they often offer more time. Time to strengthen your portfolio, work on getting papers published, maybe do that QI project properly, and really prepare thoroughly for the interviews. All potentially without the immediate intense pressures and rotational demands of a formal training program. It's a chance to consolidate and boost your application.
So it's about consolidating and gaining specific skills. Makes sense. Finally, in this really competitive landscape, the source heavily emphasizes networking and mentorship. How crucial is this element?
It's absolutely crucial. Developing a strong surgical network, and particularly finding a good mentor, can make a massive difference. A supportive consultant can be an incredible resource. They offer tailored career advice, might open doors to research or audit projects you wouldn't find otherwise, and can give you honest, constructive feedback. Where are you strong? Where do you need to improve? It's a relationship that can genuinely accelerate your progress. And when it comes to references for your application, choose wisely. The source practically shouts this. You need consultants who know you well. People who can write a detailed, personal, and genuinely glowing reference. A generic, bland letter, even if it's from a famous professor who barely remembers you, is pretty much worthless compared to a passionate, specific one from your educational supervisor or mentor who can truly vouch for your skills and potential.
Yeah, I've heard that too. The personal insight matters hugely. Authenticity counts.
It really does. It's about authentic endorsement, not just a name on a form. A brief or generic reference can unfortunately hold back even really brilliant trainees.
Okay, so all this hard work, all this strategic planning, it all culminates in the application and interview process for ST3. What does this all mean for those final hurdles? Can you walk us through what to expect? How's the application scored, for instance?
Right, the pointy end. The application process itself is highly standardized now, run through the nationally coordinated NRFS National Recruitment for Surgical Training. It's a meticulous, points-based system. They score you rigorously on various domains. Your qualifications, obviously, MRCS is essential, but extra points for things like an MSc or PhD. Your publications points vary for first author, second author, even presentations get points. Clear evidence of your teaching experience, relevant courses you've attended, and of course, those completed audit and QI cycles we talked about. Each completed cycle counts. Your total portfolio score from this initial application is absolutely critical. It directly determines if you even get shortlisted for an interview, which just underlines why that meticulous record keeping on ISCP throughout your CT years is non-negotiable. Every single point matters.
So you need the points just to get in the room. And the interview itself sounds pretty intense, multiple stations, testing different things.
It is rigorous, yes. It's a structured, objective process designed to be fair. It typically involves multiple stations, each assessing different competencies. You can definitely expect a clinical scenario station. They'll give you a situation maybe managing a tricky post-op complication or an acute abdomen scenario and assess your knowledge and judgment under pressure. Then there's the academic and portfolio station. This is where they really drill down on your CV, your publications, your audit work. You absolutely must be able to discuss every detail of your own work confidently. Know it inside out. Be enthusiastic about it. There'll likely be a communication station. Scenarios like breaking bad news or obtaining informed consent for a high-risk operation. They're assessing empathy, clarity, your communication style. Usually a practical station, too. Might involve demonstrating basic surgical skills like suturing, knot tying, maybe interpreting a CT scan. And finally, a management and ethics station. This could cover anything from handling a patient complaint, discussing a never event, or how you'd prioritize an emergency theater list. It tests your understanding of governance, professionalism, decision-making.
Wow, okay. That covers a lot of ground. Preparation sounds absolutely key.
It is the key. Practice, practice, practice. Mock interviews are invaluable. Get colleagues, registrars, even friendly consultants to grill you. Put yourself under that pressure beforehand. Know the relevant clinical guidelines, NICE, ESCP, RUGIS, for example, inside out, and stay genuinely up to date with current controversies, new evidence, key papers in your chosen subspecialty. You want to show you're engaged with the field, not just reciting facts.
So pulling all this together, the source paints a pretty clear picture of the ideal candidate. What does that successful applicant actually look like when they walk into that interview, having done all this groundwork?
Yeah, the ideal candidate. What really sets them apart is that forward-thinking approach we mentioned. They are definitely not someone who started thinking about ST3 applications 2 months before the deadline. Our source describes them as a clinician who has strategically planned their career right from CT1 or even earlier. They've got their MRCS cast early. Their portfolio is genuinely brimming with robust evidence, multiple completed audit cycles, significant formal teaching experience, those demonstrable management roles. They also boast solid academic output publications, maybe some conference presentations. They have focused clinical experience in their chosen field, often boosted by a fellowship year. And critically, they have a polished interview technique born from thorough preparation and consistent practice. It's really the culmination of years of focused effort.
It really hammers home that point. It's a marathon, not a sprint. The source consistently emphasizes resilience, dedication, and that proactive approach. It's not about waiting for things to happen, is it?
Exactly. It's about creating opportunities. By meticulously building that robust portfolio, acquiring those vital subspecialty skills, and excelling academically, you really can transform yourself from just a competent core trainee into a highly competitive ST3 candidate. The real challenge, though, perhaps the final piece of the puzzle, is identifying your unique path within this highly structured framework. How will you differentiate your journey? It's not just about meeting the criteria anymore. It's about how you exceed them or bring something unique. Maybe it's a niche research interest you've developed, a particular leadership role you excelled in, or a specific type of clinical experience others haven't pursued as deeply. That's the question to really ponder. How do you stand out?
That's a great final thought. How do you make your mark? Well, that was a truly comprehensive deep dive into the strategic path to ST3 in general surgery. We really hope this has given you, our listeners, a clearer roadmap and maybe some tangible actions to consider as you navigate this challenging but incredibly rewarding journey.
Absolutely. And just remember, this journey demands not just your clinical skill, but that strategic foresight right from the beginning. Keep seeking out new opportunities. Reflect deeply on your experiences. Don't just log them, learn from them. And always, always keep those official guidelines and policies at the forefront of your planning. As we said, they change, so stay current. They are your ultimate guide.
We've unpacked a lot today, drawing on insights from those who've successfully navigated this path. Now it's really over to you to consider these points. What steps will you take, maybe even today or this week, to start laying your foundation or building your competitive advantage? Keep digging, keep learning, and as always, thank you for joining us on the Deep Dive.
Thank you for listening to the Surgical Edge podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Help us grow and deliver even more relevant surgical content by pressing the support button. Your contribution truly makes a difference. And don't forget to share with us your advice, feedback, and the topics you would like us to include.